Robert. Hello. Oh, I can't hear you.
How are you?
I'm good. Tell me your
I can't
story.
believe I'm talking. I can't believe I'm talking to you. How did I get you
I have
so
no
quick?
idea. I have no idea. Yeah.
It was open, and I thought I got to talk to Emerson someday, and then I'm like, oh, it's gonna be like a month-long waiting list of months, And I'm like,
People are
and
afraid
today's
of
my
this.
birthday.
Oh, happy birthday. Happy birthday, Robert. Happy birthday.
Yeah, and I was born at 11 o'clock.
Oh, wow.
So this is like, I thought this is the perfect time to
Oh,
to
wow.
die.
Yeah. So tell me your story. So what got you here?
It's so crazy because like I keep going in and out. So like
Yeah.
right now, like it feels like, no, I was always here.
Yeah.
I've always been here. I've never
Yeah.
moved. But
Yeah.
in the story, yeah, I didn't arrive here from somewhere else. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
It just
Yeah.
feels like that.
Yeah.
But sometimes it doesn't feel like that.
Yeah.
Sometimes it doesn't feel like that. I guess 2001, more
Okay.
or less, right around right before 9/11. I had a good friend in high school. We were really into Carlos Castañeda,
Oh, yeah.
and
Yeah. Yeah.
the
The shaman.
yeah, that stuff, and
Yeah. Yeah.
the shaman and plant medicines, and
Yeah.
he called me up years later, and said, hey, because I graduated high school with him in '77. So
Hmm.
he goes, yeah, there are these shamans in Utah, and you got to go and you got to do this soma medicine.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I
Yeah.
went, it was 5 MEO,
Oh, wow. Okay.
the
Yeah.
5 MEO DMT. And then I had
Yeah.
just like, it was a retreat, and I had these huge openings.
Yeah.
And I lasted for like a week.
Yeah.
I was like, I remember it was 9/11 time, and I remember going through the airport, and there's Osama bin Laden,
Oh, yeah.
and I'm
Yeah.
like, and I just on the TV, and I just felt love. I just like,
Yeah. Yeah.
oh yeah, of course, yeah. But then it went away, and then
Yeah.
my ex-wife got really scared and threatened by all this stuff, and she threatened to call the police, and I had to cut
Oh,
them off, and the shamans, and they were my guides, and I didn't know what to do, so I started Googling enlightenment. What is enlightenment? I just
yeah.
became
Yeah.
interested in it.
Yeah.
And then I found people like Wayne Lickerman, for some
Hmm.
reason, who
Yeah.
led me to a student of Ramesh. And then I had
Yeah.
some interaction, a lot of interaction, and then Wei Wu Wei, and
Yeah.
that whole line, and then the Ramana line, and then the Nisargadatta line, and
Yeah.
reading and meditating.
Yeah.
But nothing like that happened, like that deeply. I had lots of Ken shows. I mean,
Okay.
I've had so many of those, maybe hundreds,
Yeah.
probably, where I'm
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. 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 I had a lot of
and then
those too. Yeah. Yeah.
a lot. I relate a lot to your story. I mean,
Yeah.
I've had anxiety attacks. I've had panic attacks, which are
Yeah.
very different than anxiety attacks,
Yeah.
as you know.
Oh my goodness.
Paralyzed,
Yeah.
was unable to work at one point because I
Yeah.
literally couldn't open my mouth in a meeting without having a panic attack. Really, really
Yeah.
bad
Yeah.
stuff. And
Yeah. Nice
depressions,
tattoo.
medication for. No?
I saw your
Oh, thank
tattoo.
you.
Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah, it's a sleeve of
Yeah.
like a koi pond. It's like koi
Oh,
fish,
cool.
and goes all the way up. Yeah.
Cool. How old are you today,
So
Robert?
65.
Oh, wow, you look young.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So then I did a Vipassana retreat in 2016,
Hmm.
years later. And in the Vipassana retreat, I would say it was the same experience. It just took longer. But it was
Yeah.
the 8th day. It was one of the greatest experiences I ever
Yeah.
had, the whole Vipassana thing.
Yeah.
You sat a lot. I know you sat a lot more than I did, but I'd never sat for 10 days, 10 hours a day. It was
Yeah.
grueling. But on the 8th day, all of a sudden it was like, oh,
Yeah.
I just had this huge, and I'm like, oh, what a misunderstanding, like
Yeah. Yeah.
everybody I've ever judged and hated is me, and
Yeah.
like there's no separation. And
Yeah.
And that lasted a week or two, you know, and then
Yeah.
so then I don't know what got me into this more recently. Oh, I know. I had kind of had gone dormant, and then somehow I saw Z Dog MD interview Angelo
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Galullo,
Yeah.
and then I was like, oh wow, you know. At first I was like, who's this guy? You know, like I'm a very
Yeah.
skeptical person. I'm like, who's this clown?
Yeah.
You know, what is this guy doing?
Yeah.
And then I'm like, oh, and he speaks directly. And then he interviewed you,
Yeah.
you
That's right.
know,
Yeah.
and I saw you, and I'm like, wow, you're just so direct and so clear and so like, hey, I'm not going to let you play games, you know, like just come back. And I'm like, I don't know. I had it in the back of my mind. I don't know. That's enough of that. You know, I've suffered. What got me
Yeah.
here is I suffered a lot. I'm a person
Yeah.
that has had high degrees of anxiety my entire life.
Oh,
I'm super paranoid. I think everything's going to go wrong. You know, like I'm doing
yeah.
all that stuff, and you know, and lots of stories of blame and why this is happening, and you know,
Yeah.
like I don't know. So that's the seeking. The seeking is it's evolved so much, Emerson. Like I've learned a lot. I've had a lot of insights, and
Yeah.
now it's like it feels like, well, there's still a little thing there. You know, it's not just the thoughts about me, but
Yeah.
it's the thing that grabs the thoughts about me. There's this energetic movement, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And I love
Yeah.
how you point to the futility of language and completely like, yeah, contracted energy. What does that even mean? And all of a sudden you're like, yeah, what does that even mean? You know? So right now
Yeah.
I'm kind of feeling like I think I'm there.
Yeah.
I don't know. One of the things that in one of the Angelo videos that just blew me away was he was talking about non-dual seeing.
Yeah.
You know, that the visual field can be non-dual. Is that over there or is it? And I looked up and I went, oh fuck.
Yeah.
It just blew me away. And in fact, now I notice that I think a lot of what my mind is doing and the
Yeah.
thoughts is to distract me from this because this is just too overwhelming. But
Yeah.
whenever I stop and I look around, I'm like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
there. It's not here.
Yeah.
I'm swimming in it, but there's no one swimming.
Yeah.
It's just this thing and it's constantly changing, but it doesn't move.
Yeah.
But it
Yeah.
seems to move. But I don't go from point to point. But
Yeah.
it's just so there's this little piece of brain that's still trying to figure it out, you know?
Okay. All right.
Um,
So, but it's kind of like, you know what, when I did that video, nothing ever moves. That I think that's when people started noticing it, and people were kind of like, that short circuited me a little bit, right? Because all that we really have is, I'll ask you that question. What do you really believe then, Robert? What is it that you believe? Truly believe?
I don't know because I mean, you know, there's so many beliefs, but I guess what comes up is that there's a belief that there's still something that has to be done
Yeah.
in
Oh,
order to realize, you know, that there's vasanas, that there's
yeah.
energetic sort of patterns that I need to work through, like shadow work. You know, that
Okay.
there's repressed emotion, that
Okay.
there's resentments, that there are
Okay.
these things that once I work through those things,
Yeah.
then the way will be clear to being permanently in this state.
Okay.
I think I believe that, and I have done
Okay.
a lot of shadow work,
Yeah.
but I think that's part of. I think that's the
I used to
limitation. Is
teach
that
shadow work. I used to when I was a spiritual teacher too. So, but what are you without those
do you
beliefs
think
then?
it has a role? Do you think that has a role?
In the
I mean,
story,
some
you know what
say,
I'm
like
saying? In
Angelo
this,
says in the
sorry, go
story.
ahead. No, no, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, that Angelo, you know, pointed out, and I thought, oh, this is true. You know that you can have an awakening. Clearly, I've had a ton of
Yeah.
awakenings. You know,
Yeah.
but then you slip back into the dream, and
Yeah.
then it's like, well, you know, if you don't do that, once you awaken, the shadow material is going to come up, but you have to experience the feeling, not the
Hmm.
thoughts about the feeling. That's a
Yeah.
filter, just the feeling. And I've been doing a lot of that, and sometimes it comes up from nowhere, grief.
Yeah.
You know, I
Yeah.
find there's a lot of grief repressed. And then sometimes at the bottom of it, I find
Yeah.
just pure existential terror, you know,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
fear,
Yeah.
you know, raw, burning fire fear, you know. And then, so I've done all that, but I don't, you know,
Yeah.
I
So
don't know.
for me here, you know what, I'm not for it. I'm not also against it. That's what I'm trying to point out, right? Because if you can't, you know, but the belief basically is that there is a thought, there's a time. I like going really directly, right? And so if your belief in time, you know, if you can't, that's just suspended for this moment. If you can't go to the past or the future, then what's wrong with this moment?
Nothing. And
Yeah.
I felt this before.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I've been
Yeah.
brought to this
What if you
point where I'm
what if you
like,
can't
yeah,
go to
there's
the
no,
past? What if you can't even go to the past? Because that's just comparing again to something that's illusory.
yeah.
Yeah. And then there's a completeness here. There's not even a comparison, isn't it? Right? Because there's just this moment. And it's very ordinary, you know what I'm saying? Um, even say that,
I don't see how it's ordinary.
yeah, even saying that is
Everybody's,
irrelevant. Yeah. Um, and then
everybody
all
says
the
it's ordinary, but I don't understand that part when people say this is very ordinary. Because
let's even get rid of that. Yeah.
when there's no past and future, it's
Yeah.
not ordinary. It's magical.
It is. It is. Yeah, it is. But let's even get rid of that. Let's just keep on removing stuff. You know what I'm saying? That creates magical or ordinary is just another idea, right? What if
Yeah.
every single idea, every single, you know, things that will come up, you know, in your thought is just trying to create a past and a future that does not exist. Therefore, overlooking what's I can't talk about because we're too busy trying to come up with ideas when what we're basically trying to express is not an idea. This is not an idea. Um, and the way that I like kind of like expressing it is like what's in between a thought and no thought. What's
Silence.
in between a self and no self.
The unnameable.
Yeah.
My son has autism, so
Oh,
making sounds over there. Don't worry.
no worries at all. I used to work with kids with
I'm
autism.
also a caretaker. I
Oh,
take care of. It's just me. It's just me and my son, and
oh,
he needs help
awesome.
with everything.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I used to work with kids with autism too. So yeah,
Oh yeah.
yeah,
Oh, I
yeah.
love him. But it's just me and him, so
If you want to see
it's
directness, look at a kid with autism. You know what I'm saying? And all different kinds of spectrum. Yeah, it's beautiful. But yeah, I'm trying to go to, you know, it's just trying to express this, the abyss or something that's unknowable, something that's inexpressible. But we're too busy thinking of figuring it out. But what if it's not, it can't be found in thought? So what's between a thought and no thought? What if it's in the between? And then if you go in between right away, there's clarity right away that you can't even put words into it.
right.
Yeah. And there's this
There's clarity
directness.
right now. There's total clarity right now and peace. Yeah,
Exactly. Yeah.
total
What if it doesn't
right
have
now.
an opposite? That what if there's no next and there's no past?
There's no next.
Yeah. Where's the next? Where's the past?
There's no next.
Yeah.
There's no past.
Yeah. So this is the permanence that I like talking about, right? Although that's just another name, you can't really call it that, but it's the infiniteness of this. And that's the extraordinary ordinariness. We can't even put words in here. And it's simple, it's
No,
that.
it is.
Yeah. It's so direct, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm transfixed now.
Yeah. That's
I
okay.
it's
Yeah.
so beautiful that like all you, I heard in one of your one-on-ones, you said all thoughts are lies.
They are, yeah.
And I was grokking that before. I was like, yeah, there's nothing, anything you can think is not true.
Yeah, yeah. So
Truth
the
can't be.
no, truth can't be, it's subjective, and it's just a thought again. It's just a thought. So we're looking, busy looking for something when we're always missing out that if you just undress all of the words, it's what we can't talk about. It's just costumes. And what are you really looking at?
Words are
Go ahead, sorry.
words are the words are the emperor's clothes.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, they're it's
And you know what?
oh, but they trap attention
Oh yeah,
so compellingly.
because
They trap attention so compellingly.
oh, they do, because one side will say that it's just consciousness, and one side will say it's nothing. And I say that they're just words. So,
Yeah,
so
that's really powerful.
yeah.
That's really powerful.
And if you look at that, then there's a belief now, right? That it's nothing or it's consciousness, right? So I'm on this side now with whoever. I'm on the opposite side now. It's just another play. The play of
Yeah,
opposites, right?
Alan Watts used to say when they would ask Alan Watts if he believed in God, he would say, "It depends. If you do, I don't. If you don't, I do."
Yeah. Let's go to, now that you mentioned that word, what's it between God and no God?
Those are just words.
Yeah, they're just words. Yeah, they're just words. That's why when
God's just
yeah, yeah. And no God is also a word. It's just a belief.
no. God's also
Yeah. The thing that this happened, right? Because one of my remnants was my undying belief. You know what I'm saying? In God and everything. So when all of that belief just ceased, because there was kind of like right now, you know what I'm saying? Where's the belief or no belief? Where is it? Then everything becomes this. I can't even talk about this. You know what I'm saying?
right.
I can't even believe this or not believe this because it's
Words are idols.
so
You know,
happy. So happy
theism
birthday
is.
and happy and rest in peace, Robert. Wow.
Yeah,
Huh?
I'd like to.
Well, it's over
I'd like.
without any next or past. Where is Robert?
Wow. Goosebumps.
Yeah.
Wow. There's nothing to say. I was going to say, I just have to stop doing that. But
Yeah.
that's just words too. There's
It's
no
just words.
future. There's no I. There's no
Yeah.
doing. What are
Yeah.
you talking about?
Exactly. Yeah.
What am I talking about?
Yeah. I don't even know what I'm talking about. That's do you understand now when I say that I have full admission here? I have no idea what I'm talking about. And then people are like, "Oh, is that false modesty?" I'm like, I really mean it.
It's just coming. You're
Yeah.
you're you're amazing, by the way. I think you're the coolest, man. You're so cool,
Oh, thank
honestly.
you, man. Thank you.
Yeah, and you give so much. You know, yeah, I don't. Anyway, um, it's funny. I'm watching. Like the mind is, well,
Yeah,
let's
yeah.
go in some direction.
Yeah,
Let's
yeah, yeah,
create some
yeah.
solidity. Let's okay. Emerson exists, and I exist, and let's like,
Yeah.
oh, you have art too on your arm.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
What
Oh,
is that?
it's an orca whale.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah. So,
cool.
when I first had a glimpse, my first glimpse, my curse and the glimpse was I dreamt about that I was in the middle of the ocean. And the funny thing is I am Filipino and I grew up in the Pacific Ocean and I don't know how to swim. So I'm I'm in the middle of the ocean in a boat, and then a orca whale breached opened its mouth and took me all the way to the depths of the ocean. And I have never felt that kind of peace, during that time anyway. So that prompted my seeking. That was the death of Emerson, basically. Yeah. Yeah. And I had no idea that peace is so immediate. What I'm saying? So immediate, so right here.
It's right here.
Yeah. It can never really go away. It's right here.
The last few days, I retired because I was living in Miami with my son.
Yeah.
And well, his mom used to have custody, on the week, and then I have him on the weekends, and I worked.
Yeah.
But then in 2021 December, she said, I can't do this anymore. And she moved to Georgia, went back to her ex-husband, and I became like the sole.
Oh yeah.
And then I tried for a while to work and have caretakers, and I just couldn't do it. So I moved to a rural part of Florida, Central Florida, and I retired 6 months ago.
Yeah.
And I'm just focusing on my son. And now I'm finding out he can communicate. Like I never knew.
Oh, that's
There's
amazing.
this method where you point to letters.
Yeah.
And I'm finding out my mind's being blown because he's super intelligent. He's learned everything. There's nothing to teach him. He just can't control his body. It's like an apraxia. So he can't make his body reliably.
Oh my goodness.
We're in this process now. And I moved here with this idea, this paradigm. I'm going to go there. I'm going to cure him, and I'll write a book, and everybody will think how great everything.
Yeah.
And all of this stuff is just fading. It's disappearing. So I've been looking through old stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm just deleting pictures. I had thousands of bookmarks because I'm very very curious. I like to read a lot. I'm smart. And I had so many bookmarks in Safari, and I'm going to go back to that. I'm going to go back, and I'm just deleting everything. I'm like,
oh wow,
this is like, and I know that's just an outward thing because it doesn't really matter.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter if you have a million interests. It's that you get caught up and create a self out of the interests. That's the
goodness,
right?
Well, the thought, which is we don't even know what a thought is. We just call it a thought because, for a lack of a better thought. It's just a thought because it's non-existent, right? It's non-existent. So one wants to create a reality based on identities, basically, right? So it hijacks this apparent, and there's nothing wrong with it. It just hijacks this apparent moment, and then it takes you to the past and the future, and the past and the future. Therefore, there's an overlooking of the directness of the immediacy of kind of like when I was looking at some kids with autism before, I saw that I'm like, oh my goodness, there's beautiful, right? It's beautiful because there's this, I don't know what, I can't even say it, right? Because it's not boxed in what we think a person or character should be. There's this, I also grew up, my uncle, my favorite uncle of all time, had Down syndrome. And so when we were growing up, he was just so beautiful. You know what I'm saying? So I'm used to not judgment and just see the beauty and individuality, basically, because this is all an appearance. But if you look at all the trees, all of the leaves, even our fingerprint are all different. Then why are we structured in this identity of what should be? So I see the beauty in the uniqueness of the appearances, basically. Yeah.
It's so funny because you look so much like one of my son-in-laws. You look a lot like him.
Oh, really? Is it Filipino?
Yeah. No, he's Peruvian Japanese.
Oh yeah, so a lot of people think I'm Japanese and some Spanish or something. But Filipinos are mixed. Basically, they're kind of like a melting pot, right? So I get the beard from and the hairness from my mom's dad is Spanish, right? So, and then my dad.
Do you speak Spanish?
No, I wish I did. I can understand a little bit, but but not conversational.
But you speak Tagalog.
I speak Tagalog, I speak Waray, I can understand Visayan. So I know the dialects basically of the of the Filipino. I can
Wow.
speak 3 of them fluently. Yeah.
Are you in the Philippines now?
No, I'm in Canada.
Oh, in Canada. Okay.
Yeah. So I
Yeah, but
moved here
anyway, I
when
was
I
going to
was.
say
Sorry, go
Andy,
ahead.
who looks like you, has a favorite uncle who has Down syndrome.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Wow. Yeah, we were only
yeah,
maybe 3 years, 4 years apart, right? So he was my best friend when we were little kids, right? So I didn't see, I just saw the beauty. I saw him through my innocent eyes, basically, before judgment, and
right.
he's just a loving character, right? Just like, wow. I remember I give him shirts, t-shirts basically, and he would save them. He would not wear them because they were so special to him.
Oh,
I know. Yeah. So he doesn't
well,
want them to get,
my
he would put them in a special place, right? In his closet, right? Because he's like,
that's
Emerson gave
beautiful.
this to me. And then one time he came here and visited, and I said, I know you're not allowed to have some sweets, but let's get some donuts. And this the joy on his face, you know what I'm saying? Kind of like, that we're, because I love sweets, right? So just we're like 2 little kids just enjoying something that we should not have, basically, which is sugar, basically. And just the joy, right? This the joy is just, you know, I love him. I love him so much. So you were saying about your son?
No, same thing. He's just a
Yeah.
bundle of love, and
Yeah,
he's
he
so
is.
happy when I sing songs with him. He's so
Yeah.
happy,
How old is he?
and I'm happy. 28.
28. Oh, nice. Nice. Yeah.
Yeah, he looks like he's 15, but he's
Yeah.
28. But he's and the mind's tempted to say, and he's going to go so far, and in a
And
year
that's
he'll go to
okay.
college, and it's
Yep.
okay to think those things, right? I
It's
mean,
okay. Yeah. You know what?
it's amazing. It's amazing all the identities, like how this thing is scrambling. Like the identity of I'm a this, I'm a that, I'm a this, and I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna like it's all future. It's all kind of like there's
Yeah.
no identity here,
No, no, no.
but there's an identity in my past,
And in the
and there's an
future.
identity in the future, and now
And
there's
if
continuity.
Yeah, the continuity is just a thought.
There's, but it's just a thought.
It's
Continuity is
just,
a thought. I'm
yeah,
a thought.
yeah.
Uh, uh, it's all, but it's
This
scary
is,
to let go and have nothing. You're just falling. You know what I mean? It's
yeah.
like
But you know what?
I'm there. I think I'm there.
You just went to the
I'm done.
future again. It's already done. The moment that you think it's like you're dreaming again, right? So it's like you press this loose button there to go to the future when it's already here. There's this silence here that is so unnoticeable in the midst, in the
Oh, it's
middle.
loud.
Yeah.
This silence is very loud.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Right. So did you
Thanks,
see
brother.
you just got caught out there again, right? So it's like, like, no, 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 no.
How
You
do
know,
how,
no, no, no. See, so
these are
it's trying to
I'm,
go again. How do I? Right? So it goes into it goes into the future, right? It's like, you know what, we just been brainwashed in the ideas of non-duality and self and no self, right? So if you look at all the ideas in non-duality, it's just really positioning a position, a position, a position, right? It's really rare to kind of like get into this clarity where you're like, it doesn't matter what your positions are, right? Because there's peace here. There's peace here. There's peace here. It's just a like a this is like a deprogramming basically, and a return to clarity that never left.
it annihilates all questions, right? I mean, it just
Yeah,
annihilates all questions.
it does.
It
Yeah,
annihilates all speculation. It
it
just
does.
annihilates
Yeah,
everything I want to say, well, how do I not go back into the dream? Well, how do I not
yeah,
distract myself again? Well, how do
yeah,
and then it's like, but
yeah.
there's no next. What are you
There's
talking
no
about?
next.
Like
Yeah,
there's just these are just concepts. These are
it's
just
all concepts.
thoughts. It's all thoughts.
Every single word, if you look at it, if you just really can, like, it's almost like, wait a second, even the word I is made up. Even the word me is made up. Even the word
Yeah.
nothing is made up. So why do we keep on believing in things that are made up? Because we're also make believe. So the illusion will just continue the illusion by coming up with more illusions. The thought will come up with more thoughts, right? And then before you know it, you're in this loop again of thinking or illusion or reality, whatever. But what's even reality right now, when all words, including reality, is just made up? And this is so humbling, right? Because I'm like you, I love the heights of the intellect, going to the summit, the peak of knowing and everything. And then before you know it, you're just basically like a Sisyphus, just going back and forth with your knowing and hoarding every knowing that you think that will elevate you.
Hoarding.
Hoarding, yeah. I don't know.
Hoarding.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you've heard me talk about this, but seeking is like hoarding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I was deleting bookmarks, because all knowledge and esoteric stuff, I love esoteric
Yeah.
crap, and this
Yeah.
connects to this and the
Yeah.
ancient and whatever. And then I'm like, oh, I'm just trying to hang on to things because I think that there's someone here, that
Yeah.
there's a
Yeah.
fixed entity, and I don't. This is an identity. Like,
Yeah.
all my life I was like my family's Google.
Yeah.
Like, somebody had a question, they call me up because I do know a lot of stuff. I pretend to know more than I know, but I do know a lot more than the average person. And then I took pride in it. I realized
Yeah.
I had this pride in having a high IQ.
Yeah.
And then I would notice somebody would call and my sister would ask me something. I don't know the answer, but I'm Googling it while I'm talking to her so I can pretend to know the freaking answer.
Yeah.
And then lately what's been happening is people ask me stuff and I go, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. It's,
I don't know.
what
I don't
this
have
is.
I don't have to pretend to know. I don't care. I don't need to be the walking Google anymore. I don't need
Yeah.
to. I don't know anything. The other thing, see, when I started to look around and really look,
Yeah.
I'm like, you can't know this. There's too much. You
Yeah.
can't know this. It's
Yeah.
moving.
Yeah.
It's huge and there's so many data points, but they're all moving.
Yeah.
You can't know it.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, so why am I trying to pretend? And then I go, all the
Yeah.
knowledge I have is such a fucking joke compared to this.
Yeah.
It's like I'm whistling in the graveyard to make myself not be scared, thinking I know things. I don't know shit.
No. Yeah. And when that happened, I'm saying the unhappening, and I was like, I have no idea what this is. And I said, I don't know anything. And it's just so humbling, for the first time to admit that I have no clue. And along with that, though, what I'm saying, and this is nothing special or whatever, comes clarity without words. When there's complete humility that this is not a knowing. This is not even a landing. This is like a, I don't know what it is. Yeah.
It's like flying. It's like floating, flying.
It's like floating. Yeah, yeah.
Falling.
Free falling. Free falling.
There's no ground under your feet at all.
No, where's the center even? Where's the center?
There's no center. There's
There
no
you go.
position. That's lately
No.
that thought keeps coming to me. There's no position.
Yeah.
There's no position.
No, yeah.
There's no that's a thought.
Yeah.
What do you mean position?
Yeah.
Relative objects, but even those relative objects, they're here. They're not there. I don't know. See, this is the mind trying to create a model of something that you can't know.
Yeah.
Instead of just resting in it.
Yeah. But again, you're trying
to
go
who is resting?
Exactly. Yeah. Again, it will keep on, fleeting back and forth, right? We'll try to figure this out, but and we'll try to go back, but retire, rest in peace. The mind will never get this because there's no mind.
No, I saw that too. It just thoughts are coming up, and then another thought says there's a mind.
Yeah.
Where is it? Show it to me. I'm so high right now. You have no idea how high I've been since I've been talking to you. I'm like, I feel like I'm tripping. Yeah.
Well, so someone, sorry, go ahead.
Tell me. No, anything I say is idiotic. Just tell me.
A couple of people said, they're like, am I on 5-MeO right now? Someone was actually, Captain, this is funny, right? There's this young guy that kept on looking, goes, did you put something in my drink, because it's never really, he hasn't really experienced any kind of glimpses or whatever, right? Or any kind of like clarity. And I'm like, how can I put a drink when I'm in a Zoom with you and a camera with the screen? He goes, well, I don't see it like that, Emerson. I don't see anything separate anymore. And he goes, I'm tripping. But yeah, you know what? And he just said, oh. And he goes, I don't have, I don't have a mind.
I don't have an eye.
You don't have an eye, yeah. Or a no eye.
There's just words.
Yeah. Even if
There's
you
just
look at like,
words coming out.
if you look at non-duality, right? You know, like they're trying to get into the awareness, you know, or, you know, the dropping away of the me. That's just not making sense right now. Contracted energy. I'll even say it to be naughty, shadow work.
You just keep telling the emperor he's naked. You're the one. You're the one. Like, you're not wearing anything. What, do you got another word, another concept that's transparent? Nothing there, man.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's no reason not to stay here. There's no reason not to retire. There's no reason to just stop.
Yeah.
There's no reason to stop the dreaming, the
Yeah.
lying.
Yeah.
Stop lying.
And when I say that, you know what? I felt like I was lying my whole life until I started speaking about this. I'm like,
Yeah.
Finally, you know what I'm saying? I can admit that really I can say that I was delusional. I can say that, you know what I'm saying, that I was full of it and everything, and I was a piece of shit and everything, but that doesn't even matter at the same time. You know what I'm saying? But there's an admission now, right? There's like, but at the same time, none of that matters. At the same time, you know what I'm saying? I've never even existed. Where's the
You have a
past and the
great
future?
story though.
Oh, I know. I love
As
this
stories
story.
go, yours is a great one. And I
Yeah.
love the becoming a spirit. I can't imagine being a spiritual teacher and then having the rug pulled out from you and feeling like a fraud and
Oh
going to
my
the
goodness.
bars. Like
Yeah.
that's awesome. What an awesome story.
I had a
Right?
partier friend one time, and he goes, how do you do it, man? You know, like during the daytime you're like a saint, and then here you are kind of like, you know what, swigging shots after shots, you know, like you're like leading a double life. And I'm like one of them has to die, right? And
I
I'm
did
like,
my share of that.
oh, you know,
I
it's
did my share of that. I had to
brutal, huh?
stop drinking because I had to stop drinking, just completely because
Yeah.
it was just I'm not a person that can moderate alcohol.
Yeah.
There's no moderation for this one.
I'm
What do you
okay.
think about
Sorry, go ahead.
what do you think about like there's like I my life I've had a lot of synchronicities.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
so many that my life's almost like magical realism. Like all these
yeah,
really bizarre things happen. And when I went to the Vipassana retreat, I got
yeah,
there early. So I
yeah,
went for a walk on the grounds and I sat on a rock and I'm sitting there and I see a snake come out, a red rat snake.
yeah.
And then
Oh,
it starts going up this little tree and
yeah,
it stops on a branch
yeah,
and then it goes up to another branch and it took a long time, but I'm
yeah,
just watching this. And then it went up 7 branches. I mean, can you have a better metaphor for
yeah,
Kundalini? Like a red
yeah,
serpent going up a tree, 7 levels,
yeah.
right? And then I do the retreat, and the retreat was tons of Kundalini stuff, like tons of
Yeah,
energy rushing. And I'm
yeah,
like, oh, but like, and that kind of thing has happened, like almost like crazy stuff,
yeah.
I could go on and on and on. And then I go, but there's an intelligence here. There's some kind of, this has some intelligence to it and some kind of, it's orchestrating things. It's leading,
Yeah.
or is that just an illusion? Does it feel to you like whatever this is has
Oh, I have
like
had
some,
so many crazy synchronicity stories. At the
Yeah,
same time, yeah, like crazy, crazy, crazy ones. But I'm not in a belief or a non-belief anymore. It's just what is. When you start believing or not believing it, then you take another position, don't you? When
yeah,
you make
that
it
just
real or
dissolved.
not
You're
real. Yeah.
talking and
So
that
good.
that just dissolved. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, I see all those things. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
they're just appearances.
Yeah, they're
Yeah,
just appearances because it's always trying to make a case for reality, right? So when you believe that or when you don't believe that, then there's someone believing or not believing. It's a trick, right? The illusion is such a tricky prankster, you know what I'm saying? It's just such, it's as awesome as well, right? Because you're like, it's like, I always say this is like the long clap. You're like, well played, right? Because here you are caught up in belief or not belief, or, like, well, I don't believe that. It's just like, schizophrenia basically, right? And then the clarity is um not in the words, not in the thoughts, not in concepts. um it's always here, it's always silent, it never moves. No judgments, nothing. It's almost
something,
everything is
something's
allowed. Yeah.
bubbling up.
What's that?
Something's bubbling up,
Yeah.
like a little bit of fear. Something's coming up.
Well, if you undress the fear, what is it? If you unlabel it, what is it?
If I unlabel it,
Yeah.
can't talk about something without labels.
Exactly.
Yeah, so it's not fear.
It's neither fear or not. It's something that you can talk about.
No, I can say it feel it's in the chest.
Yeah.
I can give it adjectives like jittery
Yeah,
or
it's almost trying to make
something.
a move, right? It's trying to move in the stillness. It's almost like the illusion is kind of like it's getting zapped or something. That's
I
just
think
another
I'm
story.
done. I really do.
You're done.
I
You're
think I'm
done.
done.
You're done.
I
Yeah.
think I've been done.
Yeah, you've been done, but you just think you're not.
And I just think I'm not. Because
Yeah.
I even noticed like I'm flowing differently with everything and everybody. I'm
Yeah.
flowing differently.
Yeah.
Like
But
it's
don't get
just
caught up
it's
in that
just
again.
different.
Don't
Don't
get
get
caught
caught
up
up
in.
in
Yeah,
that.
because that's just another thought. See, that's another trap, right? Because you think that you're done and not done. What's in between that? There you go.
Bliss.
Yeah. Yeah.
In between that,
Yeah.
bliss.
Yeah. Because it's easy for it to be claimed and not claimed again. Because you claim it, you can, then it will end again. That's what happens usually. It's like, okay, you know what I'm saying? So there's no position again. Here you are in no position again. The lights are on, but no one's home. That's when clarity hits you. You're like, the silence is so loud now, huh?
Wow.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
No meaning, no meaninglessness.
Yeah. 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 Somebody always, it's funny, right? Because there's like people on Facebook that would message me, would like to debate me and everything. I'm like, well, it's a moot point. There's nothing to debate about. Because everyone wants to come up with their own versions of non-duality, but non-duality doesn't have any versions. What even is non-duality anymore?
That one got me. That arrow found its mark.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's just fucking word salad.
It is.
Anything, you know.
It is. Yeah.
I want, and then the mind wants to say, it's just this. That's
Yeah.
another
Yeah.
fucking
That's
thing. You know,
another
that's
thing.
another
Yeah. Yeah.
bullshit.
Yeah.
That's just more bullshit.
Yeah. I should post my meeting. I had a meeting last Sunday and I just kind of like went off. I'm like, are you not sick of hearing this is it? It's just this. Everybody's just saying, say it's just all words that try to create this position and everything, right? It's funny, right? Because people value the word so much, right? That they defend it. They defend, well, it's all consciousness. There's no one here, right? But they don't know that it's just a belief. It's just going back and forth, going back and forth. Ping pong.
Yeah, that I had exposure to the whole it's all consciousness thing for a
Yeah,
long
yeah.
time.
Oh, me too.
And
Me
and
too.
then
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that was one of the awakening things I had. Like, oh,
Yeah.
yeah, like a couple of years ago, it was like, oh, it's just consciousness.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
am
Oh, I
consciousness.
did that too. Yeah, I did
Another
that for
another trap,
another trap.
another
Yeah.
trap,
Or the
and then
next
you
one.
like then you're like, I'm
Go ahead.
sorry.
No, no, go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry.
Um, yeah, when somebody, I think it was Angelo pointed out, yeah, this that's just a word, you know, like I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. It's just a word. Yeah. It's funny, right? Because I went through that consciousness awareness thing and then I went to there's no one here. And then, but there was already
yeah.
clarity even there. It's so clear to say that there's no one here because it's obvious when there's no thought. But I didn't know that what people were believing it again, that it became a concept for them now, that it became a belief system now. So there's like a new religion now called There's No One Here. And there's a lot of
Yeah,
no me speakers talking about it, which is the new pastors. It's just words. Again, you know what? Much respect and everything, right? But it's just, for the character, they don't even know that that's what's happening. Is they're creating a new reality based on the assumption that there's no one here or belief system or and then and the same thing with the awareness consciousness people basically, right? This becomes and again both are just it's so funny, right? This appearance will always break into duality, which is ironic, you know what I'm saying? Which is there's many different kinds of non-duality now. All our belief systems. See how easy it is for the character to adapt into a belief system and then get trapped in it all over again.
yeah.
Yeah.
Did you ever hear the saying, the true guru does not bring a garland of roses to put around your neck. The true guru brings a sword to cut your head off.
I've heard that. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes me think of you. I
Oh,
really think
not
what
a
you're
girl.
doing has a lot of integrity because and I know it's challenging for people and people are sincere to
Yeah.
point. It's challenging. How are you going to hell use language for this?
Yeah.
But they're sincere efforts to point.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
man, you're like, you're like you
No.
see a baby with a razor blade. You're just grabbing it out of your hand so you can't hurt yourself. Give me that. Like, what do I do? What do I do? Wait, I'm awareness, right? Give me that. You're like, uh,
Yeah.
there's nothing to say. There's nothing to do.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
It's funny when I did the Soma, when I did the DMT in the desert, and my mind came back together enough to talk. The very first thing I said was, "Oh, there's nothing to do.
Yeah.
Doing does itself. There's nothing to do." And I was
Yeah.
very clear about that. I still
Yeah.
get clear about that sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll go through a whole day where I'm like, things are just happening. I don't even things that I
Yeah.
appear to be doing are just
Yeah.
happening.
Well, you know what? It's
And
what's
I'm
funny. What's funny with seekers that are super seekers, which what you are, and which is what I am in a character, right? Is that we have so many opportunities just to see the clarity of it, and we fuck it up with words and belief systems, right? Because I've had so many glimpses. It's like I was at one point I was sick of them. I'm like, oh, no more glimpses because it's like
Me too.
like I
Me
was just
too.
so sick of them. I'm like, damn it, saying it's like because the moment that I'm like, oh my God, this is it, right? It's like, my goodness, how come I didn't see this before? And then it's kind of like it's like, did you watch Homer Simpson, from The Simpsons?
Yeah.
There's this part that he was just like thinking that he was so smart. I am so smart. SMRT. SMRT. So so that's what the character is, right? It always wants to claim, you know what I'm saying? What the clarity that it saw. And but yeah, like I'm neither a guru or non-guru, I'm neither a teacher or non-teacher. So I was claiming to be a teacher and then a non-teacher. You know what I'm saying? It's none of those. Words, words,
No,
words,
no, no,
words. None of those, right?
no,
There is just in this
no.
story, there's this character with the um that have gone through hell and back and say that don't go there. Thoughts are hell.
Yeah.
Yeah, say, but
It's
there's
funny.
no hell because it's just a thought.
You made me think in 2021 September. I remember where I had this like a big glimpse,
Yeah.
lasted a couple of weeks. Everything is consciousness. I wrote Paul Hederman, who was a non-duality
Yeah, yeah.
teacher.
I know Paul.
That
Yeah. Yeah.
He's awesome. I was listening
He's
to him in
great. Yeah. Yeah.
2014, and I wrote him, and I said, "Thank you, I got it." Like the he uses this analogy of you're a big camera, you have a little camera in front, and
Yeah.
that camera drops,
Yeah.
and I go, "I got it, no, thank you," and then I send him a donation, and I'm like, "Wow, thanks." So a few weeks later, I'm like, "Oh, let me go look at that letter I wrote. I think I wrote a really nice email to him. Let me go enjoy my
Yeah.
language."
Yeah. Yeah.
So I go to search it in my email. Guess what I find? That I said the same thing to him in 2014. I had an awakening in 2014,
Oh
and I sent him a
no.
letter and said, "No, I got it. Thank you very much."
Yeah. Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
sent him a
Yeah.
donation then too. I'm like, "You're fucking crazy, man. You know what the
Yeah.
hell's going on?"
Yeah.
The amount of times that I thought I had it, but there's
Yeah.
no one
Yeah.
to have anything. There's nothing. There's just
No,
this
no, no. That's why
undescribable. Like, what
I,
is this?
I corrected you earlier. No, 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 don't get stuck in I got it again, right? Because saying that's just another trap. The moment that there's a getting, there's a losing.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. It's unspeakable. Really, it's unspeakable. It's almost like
Unspeakable.
it's like when it's so weird because when I always say this, in the past, that I didn't want to speak about this because there's so much clarity that I just thought I would just muddy the water. There's so much clarity, right? But somehow, over the past few years, and this is a story, I learned how to float. So it doesn't matter. So it's still clear. You know what I'm saying? In the betweens, the in betweens, right? Because if you look at it, I've been at both sides now, right? I've been at like the awareness, I've been at the radical, and then not the fault of speakers or teachers, right? Because they're trying to express clarity, but from the seeker's perspective, the thought is still getting served. It's getting fed, right? So the thought will always just be creating this delusion, right? It adapts to the delusion. For example, when you said that I am awareness, I got it. It adapted to that, didn't it? The same thing. What there's no one here, it becomes a
It's
belief
just looking.
system. It adapts to that again, right? So
It's just looking for a rock to hide under. It's like a
it is,
cockroach,
yeah, yeah, yeah. It
So
is.
you give it a rock that's called "Know Me," and like, great, I'll hide under here. Know me,
That's right.
perfect.
Yeah, no me, yeah. Or we'll create excuses
Not that
why
it's a thing.
yeah. And what great excuses that it's in the next. For example, it will say contracted energy. It will say shadow work. It will say this, and that, right? So that you keep on going to the next, the next, the next, the next. Maybe I need to do this now. You know what? Maybe I'll go to a 20-day,
Yeah, because that keeps the illusion going. As long as there's an
it
X,
does. Yeah,
there's
it
an
does.
illusion
Yeah.
of continuity.
Yeah.
but there's no
and I
continuity.
love Angelo,
But
and
it needs
I love all
continuity.
it. Yeah, I love Angelo, and I love the speakers as well. But I think there's a brutality here because and an honesty saying that enough, enough. You know what I'm saying? No more next, right? No more next, because it's just another belief system. And I appreciate, you know what, and for some character that might work and everything, but people that get to me, because you know what, for some odd reason, the I was a threat to non-duality. If someone said that to me, yeah, because I just clear it up, right? It's like, uh,
Wow.
I I clear it up. You know what I'm saying? Um, um, it's almost like there's characters that for them to get here, they've done so much seeking already, or they've gone through so much suffering, right? Because the other ones, you know what I'm saying, are the other seekers like that cushiony part of like, okay, you know what? I'm not ready to go yet. I don't want to head shopping.
Got to do some other
I,
stuff.
I, I
Got to
was
do some other stuff.
I want my wounded child to be massaged first so that it heals up and everything. And
Yeah.
it's okay. You know what I'm saying?
I got to forget. I got to forgive everybody I haven't forgiven
That's right.
first.
Yeah.
You know, I have. That was one I was
Yeah.
doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why when I usually do it's like, you know, so what do you believe again? And before you say it, chop.
I left you
Did you
a
notice
comment in
that?
one of your videos. I noticed that. I left you
Yeah.
a comment that said ruthless love.
Yeah, this is what it is.
Yours is ruthless love, but real love is ruthless.
It is. Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's not you know, sugarcoat it and everything, right? And make it into someone that I was talking to, who I love dearly now. You know, I've known her, and we've been doing this stuff because she's very loving and very, but she got somehow put into the rose colored glasses of love and light. Although she's this authentic character, you know what I'm saying, that wants to get mad and pissed sometimes. I'm like, that's it too, by the way. That's it too. Yeah. Because we get caught up in what I should be or what I could be and all that kind of stuff, right? But what's funny thing about this is, what's really wild is that what this is already what it is without thinking about it.
Right.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Yeah. It's super clear. Everything's very clear.
Yeah.
Everything's very clear.